The drive back to the house was quiet. I didn't turn on the radio. I didn't call anyone. I just let the engine hum beneath me while the late afternoon sun stretched across the windshield. For 32 years, I had returned to that house as a wife. That day, I returned as something else. When I pulled into the driveway, Evan's SUV was parked slightly off-center, like he already felt comfortable claiming the space. The porch light was on, even though it was still bright outside. Claire opened the door before I reached it. "I thought you were staying with your friend," she said, glancing at the single suitcase in my hand. "I changed my mind," I replied. Her smile tightened. Evan appeared behind her. "Mom, we talked about this." "Yes," I said calmly, "we did." I stepped inside without waiting for permission. The house felt different, not because Harold was gone. I had already felt that absence. It felt different because I now understood something they didn't. They thought I was cornered. They thought grief had made me weak. They were wrong. I carried my suitcase upstairs and placed it back in the closet. I didn't unpack it fully. Not yet. Let them wonder. That evening, Claire cooked dinner. Chicken breasts, steamed broccoli, rice. Efficient, clean, no conversation. Evan tried once. "Did you look at any places today?" "I looked at paperwork," I said. He frowned slightly. "Paperwork?" "Yes." I took a sip of water and met his eyes. "For your father's trust." The word trust changed the air. Claire set her fork down. "What trust?" she asked. Too quickly. I let a few seconds pass before answering. "The one Harold established 8 years ago." Evan blinked. "Dad never mentioned a trust." "He mentioned it to me," I said. Silence. Not explosive, not dramatic. Just tight. Claire leaned back. "Well, regardless, the deed was in Harold's name." "Yes," I said softly, "and Harold moved the property into the Whitmore Family Trust in 2015. Evan stared at me like he was trying to solve a math problem he hadn't prepared for. "That doesn't change the fact that," Claire began. "It changes everything," I interrupted gently. My tone never rose. "The trust names me as primary beneficiary. The house cannot be sold, transferred, or reassigned without my consent." Claire's jaw stiffened. "And after you?" she asked. "After me," I said. "It depends." "On what?" Evan asked. "On behavior." That was when they both went very still. I didn't elaborate. I didn't need to. I finished my dinner and carried my plate to the sink. That night, I slept in my bed. Alone, but not displaced. The next morning, I woke before sunrise. I made coffee the way Harold liked it. 2 scoops of grounds. A pinch of cinnamon. Habits don't disappear overnight. Claire came downstairs dressed for work. Heels clicking sharply against hardwood. "We need to see those documents," she said. "No," I replied. Her eyebrows lifted. "Excuse me?" "I'll arrange a meeting with the attorney," I said. "All 3 of us can review them properly." Evan looked between us. "Mom, if there's some misunderstanding." "There isn't," I said. I wasn't angry. That's what unsettled them. If I had yelled, Claire would have known how to respond. If I had cried, Evan might have tried to comfort me. But calm leaves no opening. By mid-morning, I had already called Harold's estate attorney, Mr. Landry. We scheduled a formal review for Friday. I made sure to say it out loud while Claire was within earshot. "Friday at 10 works perfectly," I said into the phone. "Yes, I'll bring the original documents." Claire stood frozen near the hallway mirror, adjusting an earring she had already adjusted twice. After she left for work, Evan lingered. "Mom," he said quietly, "why didn't Dad tell me about this?" I looked at my son. Really looked at him. The boy who once asked me to check under his bed for monsters. "Your father believed in accountability," I said. "He also believed in protection." "Protection from what?" he asked. I held his gaze. "From exactly this." He swallowed. For the first time since that dinner, I saw something other than indifference. Uncertainty. He left shortly after. The house grew quiet again. I walked through each room slowly. The living room where Harold proposed. The kitchen where Evan learned to tie his shoes. The hallway where we marked his height in pencil every birthday. I touched the wall where the faint lines still remained beneath layers of paint. I wasn't fighting for square footage. I was protecting legacy. By Thursday evening, the atmosphere in the house had shifted completely. Claire had stopped discussing renovations. Evan had stopped mentioning senior communities. Instead, they whispered behind closed doors. That told me everything. They hadn't expected resistance. They hadn't expected paperwork. They hadn't expected me to know what I was signing all those years ago. On Friday morning, I dressed carefully. Navy slacks, cream blouse, pearl earrings Harold gave me on our 25th anniversary. Not to impress anyone, but to remind myself who I was. Claire wore red. Evan drove. No one spoke during the 15-minute ride to Mr. Landry's office. When we arrived, I stepped out of the car first. Not rushed, not hesitant. Steady. They thought this was about property. It wasn't. It was about respect. And by the end of the morning, they were going to understand the difference.